Okay, yes, all right. Welcome to another episode of NICTalks. Now, these are really fun because since Justin and I work together at home, like we have all of 2020, we have random conversations, nerdy conversations, because we watch a lot of nerd shit during the day. And the other day we watched Under the Red Hood, and yeah, I'll let you lead off with that. I don't know.
No, I mean,
I got problems.
No, it's just funny enough because literally today we were watching Captain America, and Under the Red Hood kind of came up, and Under the Red Hood is just it's just dealing with Jason Todd and the fact that his idea of how he handles crime is, effective, way more effective than Batman's in a sight, because even Batman said it's Jason Todd says what do you do Batman's whole thing is fear and intimidation, and Jason Todd said, what do you do with the ones that aren't afraid? I'm doing what you can't, I'm taking them out. I'm
well, this is basically a little glimpse into why I favor Marvel over DC, because I've said before, of course, I think that Marvel characters are more relatable, and I think that their character development is better, especially in the cinematic universe and just in general. But I've always kind of wondered how to feel about Batman, and when we watch Under the Red Hood, and Jason Todd talks about his antiquated sense of morality, and the fact that Batman has this thing where he won't take a life, he won't kill, and I feel when you're younger, that sounds it sounds nice. It sounds
all
like
life
a good
is
idea.
precious. All
life is precious, but at the same time, I'm but Jason had a fucking point. We've been watching this movie for a while now, and now at this point in my life, I'm you know what? Jason had a goddamn point. He's I'm not talking about killing Dent. I'm not talking about killing just some hoodlum. It's the Joker. The fucking Joker, who has a track record of being a psychopath. Yeah. And I am so sorry, but once you there are people in this world where when you cross that line, you really, really do lose all rights to mercy. Mm-hmm. All rights to mercy. So when I watch Red Hood again, I'm Jason was fucking right. And also because, he presumably killed Jason. That definitely should have been a reason for him to go after him. So I don't. And you were talking about how you were saying that the reason that he won't kill is not because it's hard for him to, but that it's too easy. Can you expound?
So on that one, it's more of the fact that, for me, I always play the devil's advocate, so I'm Batman. Yeah. The reason he doesn't kill is because he knows if he does start killing, it'd be too easy for him to kill left and right. Because literally, he's been trained by assassins, masters of all forms of martial arts. The only reason he doesn't shoot a gun is because, again, this is him being it's not right.
Yeah, I mean,
so
which I vibe with that. I fuck with that. That's fine.
But literally, he knows pressure points, ways to kill. So literally, he could just it's one of those things where I was just saying, I think at the point it would just be, he would become so numb, he'd be one of the murderers that he's trying to stop. But then we were going on about it, if you are selective with the murders and still feel guilty, that doesn't make you a bad person. You just kind of thought of the greater good over your good.
Well, it's it's this fucking high and mighty. That I think that's what I've always kind of felt off about Batman is he's the very high and mightiness of him. The fact that if he feels if he were to take a life, that would make him a bad person, even if it was for the greater good. And then I look at Steve Rogers, who has killed many a motherfucker, many, but yet is worthy to hold Thor's hammer. We know, he is a good man, and we know that his intentions are good, and he does acknowledge that he acknowledges even in the first Avengers movie that he's we were the greatest generation, and we did a lot of things that we made it hard for us to sleep at night, still does, but we did it because we believed we were keeping America safe. He says that in the first Avengers.
I thought that was Winter Soldier.
No, it was the Avengers.
Oh.
It was it was in like the very beginning. Or maybe no, you're right. I think it was Winter Soldier.
Yeah, because he was talking to Nick Fury.
He was talking to Nick Fury. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, nope, my bad. Yeah, he was talking to Nick Fury in the elevator, right? Or
no, it was on the under the helicarriers.
That's right. Not that it matters, but yeah, and he was saying like, yeah, we did that because we fucking had to. Like, they're Nazis. Like, it's not like drug dealers. It's not like, you know,
because like they're killing people without remorse.
These are Nazis. Like, this is the Joker. So I'm like, Batman is fucking selfish. Batman is fucking selfish because he's not willing to go past that line and this is my militariness talking, but like, you know, dehumanization is definitely something that we study, that is something that we do to our enemies, or the people that we have to kill, or quote unquote have to kill, whether we should be or not, to make it easier for us to do it. When you see someone as not a person anymore, it makes it very easy to go down that line. But this is the Joker. I'm like, you don't, like, so you're afraid to do what is definitely right for Gotham, which would be to eliminate him, and you don't want to deal with the aftermath of having to have self-control afterwards. Yeah,
I mean, that's always what I'm like, that's why I was like, even my defense was like pretty lackluster, because, you know, everyone is like, most people in DC have killed at least once or twice. Batman, I think, maybe the only exception. People like batter left and right about the Killing Joke, if that's considered a kill, or if that's even canon universe. Yeah. But like Oliver Queen, the Green Arrow, killed somebody. Superman, probably not advertently, but like he's probably killed someone.
Even the Killing Joke, which we also just watched, it's like, I wonder about the writing, because I still, and this is what you like I said, this is why I like Marvel better, because there is no way that a regular person would, after all of what Joker did to Gordon and what he did to Barbara and the pictures and everything, I'm sorry, there's no way that any regular ass person would be like, I wasn't brought in by the book. There's no way. There's no way. I don't care if you're commissioner or not. Like, seriously?
No, I mean, like, it's one of those, again, this is where, like, the way they write Batman and the Joker is like how they kind of do the duality, like, because like even in that movie we were talking about this in depth too. It's one bad day to get you off.
One bad day,
and like it's just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, well if we kill the Joker, Batman loses his duality of like what he does, and the reason Joker won't kill Batman is because Joker needs. It's one of those things where like they're kind of stuck. Like Batman can't kill.
It's literally the actual plot of Lego Batman movie. Like they need each other. Like no joke, like they need each other. I feel like they need each other. I feel like it's this weird, fucked up, codependent relationship.
Oh, dude, like this
there's
is
no. That's why I think that's why I hate it, because there's no end. Like there can't be any end to it, because like each of them need each other to feel validation. Because if you're Batman and you're actually concerned about doing your goddamn job, he would have killed Joker a long time ago. Just like Steve Rogers had no goddamn problem taking out all of S.H.I.E.L.D. Be definitive, solve the problem.
And like, yeah, there are holes, but the thing is, though, like, you kind of have to solve them as they go. Bruce Wayne is one of those people, he's thinking, like, he thinks the big picture, but he's thinking too big, where it's like, if I do this thing, everyone's everything with 100 years. I'm like, I'm like, I get that. I appreciate the big picture thought, but sometimes you gotta take handle what's right in front of you, because if you think too far in the future, you ain't getting shit done.
Like, bro, and also Bruce Wayne acts like he's the only one in the world that's experienced trauma.
Yeah.
Like, not to down, and of course, you know, I know I'm a big mental health advocate, and it's like that's like the second thing I talk about mostly in my content. But also part of being traumatized and processing trauma is realizing that you are not the only one in the world that has gone through what you're going through. Many people have before you, many people are right now, and many people will in the future. Bruce Wayne acts like he's the only one that has ever lost their parents. Bruce Wayne acts like he's the only one that has ever experienced trauma, I feel.
And here's the thing where I'm like, I think more about it, like, because comics for me I always like try to, I always want to dream one day that we can bring it into real life, you know, like maybe we can have some vigilantes, which honestly in the whole social climate that it is now, we kind of might need it.
If I had superpowers, you know.
Not even superpowers, it's more of like we had more skills.
I got skills.
Yeah, but can we like,
I mean,
can you drive?
Yeah, I can drive. Not as much anymore.
Can you drive more than 30 minutes?
No.
Then we got problems.
That's such a jab at my generalized anxiety disorder. No,
I'm just saying.
Condition.
I'm just saying Batman has to go on patrol, and so would other superheroes, and patrol lasts more than 30 minutes unless you're going to get a sidekick. I'm not going to be that sidekick. I'm going to be a partner. Just saying.
I just get somebody to drive, like All Might had. What's his face?
Whatever. Okay, we're derailing here because I'm about to lose my train of thought. But the idea of Batman like solving crimes is faulty because like any decent judge would be like, oh, I'm dismissing this out of, you know, the fact that you got evidence and a confession out of harassment and a third party, which is against the law. So in all honesty, it makes more sense to just kind of like knock him out.
That's what I'm saying. If you're gonna be a vigilante and you're gonna like actually, that's what I don't.
The idea, here's the thing, the idea of like being a hero is so attractive because like it's the idea of fixing the world without, you know, causing any damage.
But it's like, are you doing it to help other people, or are you doing it to make yourself feel better?
Yeah.
I feel like Batman, for the most part, is really, like, he does a lot of good, yeah, but a lot of it, DC to Marvel, is to make himself feel better, which is why Joker stays alive. That's why Joker keeps on fucking shit up in Gotham.
Yeah. And remember, and here's the thing, people have made this argument, and it's solid. Bruce Wayne could do a lot more for Gotham than Batman ever could. Because when Bruce Wayne could actually, like, he's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire. Oh my God, that's another thing. He's a fucking billionaire. Do you know how many problems? I mean, and that's just a general. This is a general thing in the world. You know how many like worldwide problems a single billionaire or a few billionaires could fix?
Honestly, you know what? With the amount alone, he could pay for the tuition of everyone at Gotham University. And like, you know, not even give them like people at a certain percentage, and just like bam, we'll pay off your loans or whatever. And they just, do you have any idea how much that boosts the economy of Gotham and into the rest of the neighboring cities?
For as much as it costs to create the Batcave, like what the fuck?
Yeah.
The only good, the biggest charitable thing that came from Bruce Wayne was the orphanage that Wayne Manor turned into after he died in Dark Knight Rises. Like, that's literally the only thing I can like think of right now, which is like, I feel like this vigilante thing for Batman is just to make himself feel better. When you compare it to, and honestly, you can compare him to Iron Man.
Yeah. Because like, here's the thing, Tony Stark does the same thing, but at least he's honest about it. It's like, yeah, I know I'm doing this.
Quite honest.
Yeah, but then he'll like do rent, like he sees what he's done wrong, and then like he'll fix it or like try to fix it. Like with Bruce Wayne, there's more like legal red tape I feel like he has to go through. Iron Man, like, I can just do this now.
Well, I like it. Well, like you said, I like how Marvel is very, very honest about, like, yeah, it's Tony Stark. He's very self-centered. He wants to do good, but also at the center of him, he's kind of a narcissist and is kind of doing it to make himself feel better and feel control over his life, you know, definitely after being kidnapped, after, you know, that's the thing about Marvel. That's the thing that Marvel does better, because they address Tony going through this. They address Tony's flaws. They address his trauma. They address how he processes that trauma in an unhealthy way in Iron Man 3. And they even hint at it in the very first Iron Man as well. Batman, we never get that development. We never get that, like, that depth to that character, and it just becomes the same thing over and over again.
Well, the biggest thing I have with all of that is, like, if Batman ever went to a psychiatrist, like, this list is long.
I mean, every superhero ever.
Oh, definitely. But the thing is, like, Batman's is, like, his is, like, he owns it in a way where, like, it really, if he just, like, actually let it go. There are, like, many times in, like, there was, like, actually, no, the Batman animated series when he was dealing with the Phantasm or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Literally, there was this great moment where, like, he almost let it go. Like, he could have been happy, let it go, and been Bruce Wayne, the billionaire playboy philanthropist without the playboy part, and be married and be happy. But external things affected that, where he just became the Batman instead still, because, you know, he felt like he had to. And, like, I'm like, who told you had to do this? Who told you had to do this alone? Like, there was, like, honestly, if you really wanted to do Batman, you could have made the Batmen. Batman Incorporated was a thing, and I'm not gonna lie, if that was actually fully backed by an actual like Bruce Wayne and a company, like, dude, that would be solid.
Yeah, I mean,
like, privatizing police is fine, but that's security, and security can.
I think in a way it almost all comes down to what Joker said, like, all it takes is one bad day to push someone over the edge. But the thing is, like, a lot of people have that one bad day. Pretty much every superhero has had that one bad day. For Steve, it was Bucky. For, you know, for Tony, it was a few months of being kidnapped. Or not really. No, it was going through the fucking wormhole.
He had too many.
Tony has so many. You know,
Rhodey, he got paralyzed.
Rhodey is paralyzed. Like, that's why, you know, but the thing is, like, you have a choice, though.
Yeah.
You have a choice. You have a choice to react to that one bad day, to that trauma. Of course, it's going to take a while for you to recover. But, I mean, and that's obviously the point that the Joker was trying to make. That, like, it really just takes one bad day to push you over the edge. And I think Bruce Wayne is actually, like, maybe he is scared of that. But either way, it is selfish. Because if you're scared of that, fucking admit it. Don't go parading around as a vigilante, like, doing some good, yes, but this one man has proven to be, like, extremely lethal, extremely dangerous, and the only reason you won't do what has to be done
is your antiquated sense of
morality. And like Jason Todd said, he was like, you're trying to rule by fear. What about the people that aren't afraid? Because there are people out there that aren't afraid.
Yeah, like, the only thing that certain people fear is death, and that's very true. And, like, so, like, everything else you do before then, or, like, if it's not including, like, them dying or getting hung.
It's questionable if the Joker even fears death, honestly.
I don't think he fears death. That man is, like, deranged. It's like, if anything, he plans on dying, and he probably has backup plans, like, in case if he dies. But, you know, it's one of those things where, like, if Jason Todd actually kept on going with his plan, he would have, like they even said it in the movie, where, like, drug rates are going up but crime is down, because, you know what, once you kind of, like, he took them out, he gave them strict guidelines, like, if you
don't fuck with children, like,
no peddling to children or schoolyards. If you are, you're dead. And I was like, dang, those are strict guidelines, and I'm not gonna lie, you stop a lot of, like, the issues there, because, like introducing drugs to kids is how people become drug addicts, or most of the time. But if Jason Todd actually kept on going, he would have eliminated every single criminal. And sure, new criminals will always pop up and turn up, but then you have that fear of, like, I'm gonna die.
But there wouldn't be no more Joker.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, don't go crazy like the Philippines.
Hey, man.
Like the government in the Philippines, that was like, you know, but, well, you know, another thing, and we'll have to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes, but another thing rewatching Red Hood that I didn't like was when they were talking about, was it Ra's al Ghul?
Ra's, yeah.
Ra's al Ghul, who was talking about how he revived Jason. Mm-hmm. And they framed it as like he went mad. Mm-hmm. And that the Jason that they're dealing with under the Red Hood is not the same Jason that they knew before. Mm. And I don't like that because, it shows him like, being extremely, in distress when he, comes out of the pool or whatever.
The Lazarus pit?
Yeah, the Lazarus pit. But like, if you were fucking resurrected from the dead and you woke up in the Lazarus pit, like, wouldn't anyone fucking freak out? Like, that's...
I mean, like, and they even said, like, the Lazarus pit causes madness, and, like, the Lazarus the Lazarus pit does do that for a temporary time. Now, if they just, hung on to him a little bit better... I mean, I'm not gonna let Jason Todd, trained by Batman, he gouged the guy's eyes out on the way out.
Okay, but yeah, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, he's mad, but somehow all of his martial arts came back real fucking quick. I don't think he's that mad. like I don't think you're dealing with a blank slate here, is what I'm saying. I don't like that they framed it that he went crazy and that's why he went down this road. I'm like, no, he had logic behind what he did.
Yeah, it's because by the end they're like, oh, he wasn't crazy. He had a point. Like, there's a point.
Exactly. And so, like, I don't know, that I don't necessarily like, probably because like in years past was before I got diagnosed with PTSD, and now I understand mental disorders a little better now, obviously because I have a few, but I always question things like that when people are quick to pin something on insanity. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no. No, I'm like, anyone that wakes up from the dead in the Lazarus pit, you have no idea where you are. You don't know up from down. Like, what does a baby do when they are born?
They cry.
They cry. They scream. They cry.
I mean, like imagine anyone coming out of a coma. You ask questions because you may like there are some things that are like solidly in your brain, but come on, even when you wake up every morning, you're like, like, come on, that's a huge coma that guy came out of, where it's like,
yeah, that's why I don't like that they discredit Jason's intellect.
Well, I also think that was writing just like to make it seem like he's doing this because he's mad. I'm like, I guess, but like by the end it resolves to like I have a point to all this insanity.
Yeah, which like I said, it goes back to my frustration with the entire story, acting like, kind of like highlighting Batman's antiquated sense of morality that he won't kill the Joker, and acting like Jason's plan was like I said, births from insanity and psychopathic, and it's not. Mm-hmm. Like it really is not. It makes perfect sense, and I feel like a lot of the writing is done to discredit Jason and once again glorify Batman. But again, I think a lot of what he does is to make himself feel better about himself. I mean,
the crazier thing about it all is that whenever you look at the characters that Batman has influenced and look beyond Batman, all the heroes and sidekicks or whatever, they are actually great heroes on their own. They just have to live behind the shadow of Batman, and it sucks. Because literally, Tim Drake is known as the best detective. Batman admits, he'll be a better detective than I am. Dick Grayson is the better acrobat, so literally his skills of espionage are great. Jason Todd, he's ruthless, but sometimes you need that ruthlessness. It gives you the edge in a fight. And Damian Wayne is he's the little hellion that could.
Well, I just went crazy when they did the flashback to Jason when he beat that guy up real bad, and Bruce was like, you shattered his collarbone, you sent him into shock. I'm like, so? Shock is not dead. He'll wake up.
I mean, with all the excessive violence he does, I'm like, why is this surprising? I mean, at the same time, I get it, Batman's you shouldn't be as bad as I am. So you're saying monkey? So
Such a-
do as I say, not as I do. I'm like, nah, that's not what happened. Especially when you're fighting crime.
He does that to everybody. He does that to Barbara. Like he did that in was it the Batwoman? Which one was the animated one? Was the,
Barbara Gordon?
No, not Barbara Gordon. I'm talking. Well, Killing Joke. He did that to Barbara for sure, and then like Jason, and then I don't know. Just basically
anytime there's a Robin.
Anytime there's a Robin, anytime there's a sidekick, it's like, no, I can handle this. Like, but you can't. But yet you can't handle the responsibility of taking somebody out, which, by the way, it is his fucking responsibility. Mm-hmm. Because the only reason Joker does any of this stuff is to get his attention. Mm-hmm. It's the only reason why. So it is actually his responsibility to take him out.
I know. And like, here's the thing, though. It's because, like, I will put this as my last bit before I'm, like, done talking. So the government's job is to, like, when you put people in asylum or jail, it is your job to keep them healthy, stable, and clean. So when Batman beats the crap out of him and puts him in a body cast, you know, you're not doing much of anything by letting the police arrest him, because now we have to pay for him to kind of like be healed up, to be in there, to eventually, you know, convince somebody to let him out. He goes out and then we're doing this all over again. So I'm like, you know, Batman, with all the bat cuffs you have in the bat cave, why don't you have I know you have a bat prison somewhere. Why don't you just keep him in there? Because it's not right. Like, what do you mean?
I mean, he shouldn't. He should just kill him.
Well, if he doesn't want to, I'll even give him that. If he doesn't want to kill him, you hold him then. Seriously,
though, you're right. Like, this is your fucking mess, and you handle it.
Yeah, I mean, like, literally, like Lego Batman had a point too, where they're like, you know what? With all the money that we spent catching and recatching these villains, we're spending millions to close to billions of dollars of taxpayer money to, you know, for Batman to play hero. So if you could just catch him and just either disable him hard or, like, you know, put him away, put him in the ground, whatever, which one you can.
It's all like it's all really good points, and it sucks because I grew up really liking the Dark Knight series and everything, and it was really cool back then. But the older I get, and maybe the more cynical I get, or realistic, I'm just like,
Batman has flaws in how he handles crime, while the Avengers and most characters in Marvel, you know, are flawed, and they're very honest with their flaws. At least when they know they have to do it, and they do feel the guilt, and that's the thing. What makes them human,
and that's the thing.
Yeah, because like Bruce Wayne is scared to do it.
He's scared of feeling guilt.
Yeah, but like, because he feels guilt already because he takes the responsibility of killing his own parents. I know I said this in the last bit, but I lied. But, you know, in the end, it's like, this is my fault. It's like, it's the kind of thing that a kid does that they need to handle, because it's not your fault. Someone's just like, Alfred should have said ad nauseum, it's not your fault, but it's not your fault. Like, fucking Good Will Hunting his ass.
I'm pretty sure that he has. I'm pretty sure I've heard Alfred say, like, yo, you know, it wasn't your fucking fault, right? Like,
yeah, but still, like, Good Will Hunting him, like, oh shoot.
Well, and I think that, like, that's the point of why, like I said, I like Marvel characters more than I like DC, particularly Batman, because he's arguably the biggest one in cinema right now. And of course, I do love Wonder Woman. Mm-hmm. But the thing about, like, the Avengers, the thing about, like, Captain America, like, they had an end game, literally. But, like, there's an end to what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And the fact that Bruce is at the same time to, like, Robin and Barbara, and, like, do as I say, not as I do. I'm the one that has to shoulder all of this moral responsibility for being dark and fucking weird. But then you won't take responsibility for the monster that you continue to feed because you're afraid of feeling guilt. Mm-hmm. So what that tells me is, like, you're just afraid of losing your self-righteousness. Mm-hmm.
I mean, because think about it. Like, I think after this bit, we got to wrap it up.
I know we do.
So think about it this way. With every villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I will give the MCU their due credit, because what they do is that every villain that walks in, they either handle them, or they turn them to their side, or they disappear. Literally, that's all what happens. Like Yellow Jacket, killed. Ironmonger, killed. Whiplash, killed. There is no recurring villains, and that's because like I think a lot of us are mad. Like, why do they kill off these great villains? Like, well, in actuality, you kind of need to, because the idea of a returning villain. That's terrifying.
That's terrifying.
The fact that you couldn't handle it the first time or second time means that you are inefficient as a hero. And that's just me just saying it. Like, I get, like, you know, other universes have other qualms and everything, but the idea of you having powers to handle situations means that you aren't doing your job to actually, like, handle the situations. You're going easy on them for what? For whose sake?
Yours.
Mm-hmm.
Not to be cliche, but with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, like
you get to do things that other people are not able to do.
Yeah, Peter Parker suffers from that all the time. You see what happens to him in every freaking because he's on the same level as Batman on his morality. Like, since he doesn't kill, like literally, like all of his villains come back to bite him in the ass, and some of them have tried to kill Aunt May. Some of them like tried to ruin his marriage. Some have like succeeded in these certain aspects. So I'm like. See, if we just poop, we're good. But, you know, again, but comics have to sell, so they need recurring villains.
And isn't and that's the end of it. Comics need to sell, and that's why we keep watching shit like Under the Red Hood. I'll still watch it. It's a great movie.
Oh, God.
You know? But yeah. So yeah, that was I don't know what I'm even entitle this episode. It's something like Under the Red Hood.
Batman on his bullshit?
And why I think Batman is bullshit. But yeah, I'm glad that we were able to do this, because this is something that we talk about a lot. We've been talking about it a lot lately, and so this was great to share, I think, on the pod. But yeah, so thank you guys for watching / listening. This has been another episode of NICTalks. Make sure that if you want access to all episodes of NICTalks, go become a Vibranium level patron of mine on Patreon. I will be releasing a few episodes for free on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes. But if you want access to all of them, definitely, look into becoming a Vibranium level patron. That would be great. Only $10 a month. So yeah, thank you so much, and we will see you next time we think of something random to talk about.
Won't be too long.
Won't be too long. Won't be too long at all. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.